and welcome to the podcast. My name is Daniel Christie, and I am joined today by my partner in crime, Bruce Bown. We are from the
Don't
Gold
tell them about the
Coast,
crimes, man.
and we are bringing you today a fantastic inaugural podcast that we are bringing out. The idea of the podcast is to basically enlighten the Australian Football Society on some of the stories of players that we know close to us that have gone through and attempted to become a professional footballer. Some of them have, some of them haven't, but the common thing that they all share is that they all have really great stories. Now, we have a really special guest that is joining us today. Born on the 5th of July 1993 in the Midlands of the UK in Coventry. Played in 3 different countries across England, Thailand, and Australia. A fantastic footballer. One of our great friends. His name is Connor Doherty. Connor, welcome to the Coastal Football Agency podcast, Pros Around the World. How are you
Welcome,
today?
Connor. Welcome.
Do you know what, I've been begging you to get me on the inaugural podcast for a while. I'm just glad that you let me on it. Do you know what I mean? This is I'm looking forward to it. What do you want to know? I've got a bit of knowledge to disperse on anyone who wants to be a baller, basically.
Well, look, Connor, this is obviously a Euro 2020 edition podcast. So before we get into any of the basis of your career and any advice that you have going forwards, let's talk about the big tournament that's happening at the moment. Obviously, England are playing tonight. You obviously are based in the UK at the moment. You must be excited.
I can't wait for it, to be honest. Yeah, it's gonna be a good excuse for a few beers. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a tight game. I think it's gonna be a 0-0 or something, to be honest.
And you obviously support England at the Euros?
Well, do you know what? I'm more Irish than I am English, but yeah, I guess I did. Ireland are in the tournament, but yeah, it's nice to see England do well, isn't it?
Okay, very interesting. And who do you think will win the Euros, Connor?
I'd have to just be boring and say France or Italy. Actually, Italy are looking pretty good, aren't they?
Connor, you're not going to back your own country with England?
Bro, I'm not even English, man.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that. Where's your Irish background and where does it come from, Connor?
Ireland, man. But my dad's from my dad's from Donegal, and my mum's from Limerick. So my dad was actually from Northern Ireland, to be fair. And my mum's from Limerick, so I've not got a home anywhere. In England, I'm Irish. In Ireland, I'm English. You know what I mean? So
do you feel more Irish in your blood?
No, I don't. I don't really feel Irish in my blood, really, at all. To be honest, I don't know what I would say. I'm English.
What's your take on Jack Grealish?
I've not seen a lot of him. To be honest, I've not really been following Villa and stuff like that. So people are moaning about him not being in the England team, but it's like, who'd you put him in there for? Who'd you take out?
What about that decision to play for England rather than Ireland?
Oh, that decision. If you're in the Premier League and you're doing bits, man, I think and you've got the choice. I think you're always going to pick England. I think you want to be on that international level. But if you don't think you can cut the mustard a little bit, is England Ireland's not. I think that's literally what it came down to. I think there's probably a lot of players in that Ireland team that could also play for England, and they know they ain't going to get that call up, so they did get the call up for Ireland. To be honest, I'm surprised I've not had the call up for Ireland. You know what I mean? After my career, I would turn it down, like.
Yeah, and that's what we want to get into now. So a fantastic introduction there. Obviously, welcome to the podcast, and great to hear a little bit about yourself. Going back right to the beginning of the Doherty generations. But look, Connor, we want to get into the football side of things, and we want to talk about your journey and what processes did you take? How did you try to get the best out of your ability? And ultimately, what did you learn? So the best way for us to be able to get a guide on your story is starting right at the beginning and tell me a little bit about what inspired you to play football in the first place.
What inspired me? Do you know, I'm not your traditional football player, really. Like, I'm like, you asked me about the Euros. I'm not the most avid watcher of football, even, to be honest. I don't know that. I love playing football. I could play football every night, and I wouldn't get bored of it. That's what I'm like. And I remember when I was a kid, my mum used to drag me to football training, crying. I hated it. I remember there was a game. I stood on the pitch, and I shouted to the manager, "I don't even want to play." Like when I was like 10 years old, I got ragged off that pitch so quickly, but. is the best thing that ever happened to me was my mum and dad forced me to go week in, week out, and now I love playing football so much, and it's opened so many doors for me. So yeah, and to be honest, it was never really something I thought I could do, like make play abroad and things like that. I don't think people understand these opportunities are really a lot easier to get than you'd think. Now it can be as simple as just messaging a team on Facebook or something like that. I was lucky where I met a guy who played in Tasmania before, and I got contact that way. But once I was there, it's like, you can just message teams on Facebook and I don't know, get a little video together or something. Just harass as many teams as you can. You'll get a response eventually.
Yeah, it's interesting that I guess especially with the power of social media and the connection that we have across the world today. If you got power and you got the knowledge to be able to use that to your advantage, that's how, especially the younger players out there listening, that's how you can make it to the next level and be able to get connections your own way without having to rely on anyone, which is important. But you've already spoken about Ireland a little bit. Passport eligibility is really important for players and what countries they're from and where they can play around the world. So do you think that helped you out, you having kind of a different background to be able to play overseas?
Do you know what? I think globally, being from England, just even having an English accent and being like it's going to help you. I think people like English players, and but honestly, not the passport thing. Not it's a it's half a hindrance as much as anything because because of my passport, anywhere I go, I'm an international player now, and so you can go to Australia and you might be better than all these Australian players, or you might be better than all these Thai players, but are you going to be better than the other international players? That's what it comes down to. Like my experience in Thailand, I remember in training these Thai lads, I wasn't impressed by them really. Like I'll come out of training thinking I'm great, this is going to be easy. But then, but when there's only three spaces for these international players, and then there's seven lads competing for it, and you might even be I might even be the one of the better players there. But if they don't need the centre back or they don't need that, then yeah, you need to make quick decisions and move on quickly. But yeah, so I don't know if I've really answered the question there, but it's definitely it's definitely something that is definitely a big factor in playing abroad.
Okay, were you scared in leaving home, Connor? Because that's obviously something that a lot of players take in consideration, homesickness. But for you, was that
Yeah.
ever a thing, leaving home?
Honestly, not at all. I have so many people that say to me, "Oh, you're so brave for going away" and things like that. And I was like, "Why are you still in England? What are you still here for?" Like, it's like
Connor,
it. What
you were talking about a time when you were when you landed in Thailand. What was that feeling like? I think you just described it as overwhelming. Talk to me
you know
about
what
that.
that Well, you know, my nature is not to really plan much at all. I remember when I had my flight booked to Thailand, and I didn't really like. I knew I was landing in Bangkok, obviously. But I didn't know. I hadn't booked a hotel. I hadn't booked anything. Literally, my plan was I got the train, and then I'm just going to get out of the train to the city centre. And then I asked this guy like, "Where's the city centre?" And he was like, "Thailand's very big. No, Bangkok's very big." And I was like, "Oh, the whole thing's just a big city centre." So then I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, so then and it's a bit of a culture shock as well. For the first few days I was there, I think I must have left 100 meters from my little hostel. But after spending a few weeks there, eventually I'd love to go back to Bangkok now. But yeah, the first few days are daunting. And actually, I remember when I was playing football as well, it was in Camping Pet, and that's even more of a culture shock because they don't see white people there really in the Camping Pet or anything. Like I was this big foreigner everywhere I was going, people looking at me. I remember before my first ever game for Camping Pet, there was it was at like a festival. I don't know exactly what was going on. I didn't speak Thai, but we had a game, and there was probably at least 500 people watching, maybe over 1,000. And it was like I don't know, like a charity thing at a festival or something like that. And I must have taken 100 photos with these Thai locals and stuff like that, and nobody had even seen me kick a ball yet. And I was thinking, if there's a lot of pressure now because everyone's treating me like I'm some superstar footballer, and if I don't perform now, it's going to be so embarrassing. And to be honest, we were like the professional team from the area, so I think we were playing against an amateur team, so it was like a 10-0 or something stupid. I was playing centre back, I had nothing to do, so I got away with it. But actually, the only thing I did was this really stupid slide tackle in this hard Thai ground, and it shredded my legs. I had a massive cut down my leg the whole time I was in Thailand. And even then, at half time, I had to get my leg bandaged up, and I was in a medical tent, and there's just like 10 people filming me, just getting my leg bandaged up, and then I just wave, and they start laughing. I was like, Jesus, this is a new one.
So yeah, you've definitely had some experiences of living and trying to make that as a professional footballer right at that real earthy beginning stage. We were really trying to
Yeah,
break in, sleeping on single mattresses on the floor, waking up early, doing the grind, things that we love to hear on the Coastal Football Agency podcast. Pros around the world, the Euro 2020 edition will be back shortly. Remember, if you are interested in finding anything out about Coastal Football Agency and more about our products and services, please visit www.coastalfootballagency.com.au to find out all the latest prices and info. Now, Connor, what I wanted to get into with you a little bit more now is how did you transition from England to Australia to Thailand? And tell me briefly about your journeys in each of those three countries to getting to you where you felt you were at your peak.
Literally, a lot of it is chance, and I'll be the first to admit I've been very lucky. Just even in the terms of the people I've met. Like I remember, I played in the. I remember when I was 16, I really badly sprained my ankle, and I didn't play football. I was at uni for 4 years. The first 3 years of uni, I didn't play football. I completely forgot about football because my ankle was so bad. And then in my last year, I started to pick it up again. I got into the school team, no, the school teams, the uni teams, and I was really, really enjoying my football.
What age
And
was
then
that?
I finished uni when I was like 21. I think I was in Tasmania when I was 22. So yeah, like I missed a good chunk of like 18 to 20. They're important years in football. Don't get me wrong. I was never going to be a top level high professional baller anyway, but that definitely
I
didn't help.
disagree.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people disagree with that, actually. I'm being humble. But
Absolutely.
yeah. So I met a lad called Shane Brassington. We played in the Sunday League team together. We were friendly, but we didn't really know each other that well. And I remember finding out that he played football in Australia, and I had plans to go to Australia. And I was thinking, I want to bring it up, I want to ask him, but I thought I'm not going to ask him. I don't be like, hey mate, can you hook me up? But I remember we had a Sunday League game, and we won 4-0. I scored two and set him up twice, and he set me up twice. It was just this game, and me and him were just having a laugh with these opposition. And then at the end of the game, he was like, when are you going to Australia? And I went, September. And then he walked off, and I thought, I think I'm in it. I think he's going to try and hook me up. And then literally like a few days later, he messaged me. He's like, do you fancy going to play? I can get you a trial at this team in Tasmania. And I thought, mate, definitely. And then I landed in Melbourne, I think, this
Did you know where
September.
Tasmania was? Sorry to interrupt you, Connor. Did you know where Tassie was when Shane first told you?
Nah, my idea of Tasmania, I didn't know a lot about the geography of Australia at all, but I just assumed it'd be like, I don't know, like central Australia, like just the desert. Just all I knew about Tasmania was the TV show, the cartoon, just like everyone else probably in England. But yeah, but it was a lot more like the climate was a lot more like cold, to be honest, than I thought it was. But it's not a place that's bursting the sun all the time. I think I've always said that the coldest winter I ever had was in Tasmania, but that was because I was living
Absolutely.
in this like wooden house. Do you know what I mean? It was so cold.
But
But
anyway,
yeah,
so you had the chance to go to Melbourne.
yeah, I was in Melbourne, and to be honest, do you know what part of the thing about going to Tasmania as well is I did not save up a lot of money to go to Australia. I remember I had about 2 grand on me. I spent like a grand in my first week, like an idiot. And then when I spoke to the manager of the team in Tasmania, he was so friendly, Dane Hudson, and he it was crazy because I asked him when the season started, and so this was in like October time. I said, "When's the season starting?" He was like, "Oh, next March." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Do you want me to come like January, February?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm not come this week." And I thought, okay, Stan, there's we got a house here for you. There's a little car you can drive back. And I thought, this is the jackpot. This is exactly what I needed.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah,
unbelievable.
if that didn't happen, I probably would have been home within 3-4 weeks, like
Mhm.
from Australia, and then my life could have been so different. You know what I mean? I might have just got a normal job and just done that basically.
So what opportunity did you have in Tasmania?
Well, in Tasmania, I got trials for team Northern Rangers, and not yeah, they were. It was definitely a great year. Met a lot of great people. The season we had though wasn't the best season. I think a mistake I made as well was that like everyone knows me now as a centre back, but I was never a centre back when I
Mhm.
when I originally went over to Tasmania, I was like a winger or a midfielder, or like I would always play like be dangerous up the pitch. But I remember we had an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old centre back, and I thought we're going to get hammered every game. And then so I remember saying I'll play centre back. And you know what? I may as well not have said that, because we didn't have a good season with me at centre back anyway. I think me and Jorge, the other international student, the international player, were probably both centre backs, probably two of our better players. And I remember thinking if we had a good game, we'd lose 1-0 or 2-0. Do you know what I mean? It's like it was. Do you know what I mean? I remember like some of our better games against like Devonport and things like that, where I came off the pitch thinking me and you did really well there, but when your team's lacking them goals, man, it's like a game of attack versus defense most games. So yeah.
So you have a crazy. How many years did you spend in Tasmania?
Just the one season.
So yeah,
and
you
then
had a crazy 12 months, a little bit longer, really, in Tasmania, over the 2015-2016 season. And then how on earth does an international player playing in Launceston, Tasmania, and for any of our listeners who are wondering where this all links in, my home club town is Northern Rangers, and I grew up in Tasmania. Bruce has family that lives in Tasmania and did spend a couple of years and obviously kind of played a season there. So that's how we all know each other, which brings us here today. So back to my question, how on earth do you go from Tasmania to Thailand?
You know, like I said earlier, I've been lucky loads of times in football with people who have met. Like Shane helped me out to get to Thailand, but fuck it, sorry for swearing. But I remember just Bruce Bound, the man himself, he is half Thai, so he had a few connections there. And I literally remember me and you were sitting on the couch one day, Bruce, and you had a friend in Thailand messaging you saying this our centre back's leaving, we're looking for a centre back. And I
That's
just said,
right.
mate, I was like, I'll go over there. Literally, I'll go play. And then literally that was it. No, if you know the right people and to be fair, a lot, you could probably just message these teams in Thailand and say, hey, I'm an English player, I've got this, and go over there. But people don't know they can do it. But also people, I suppose if you suppose you do need a bit about you to think, fuck it, I'm going to go over there and do that, because it didn't work out the best in the end. I was only there for like maybe a season, but when I'm making this journey to go to Thailand, all my family and friends, they know I'm going to try and make it as a footballer. So there's a lot of pressure and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it happened. Just being lucky for knowing Bruce, and Bruce is so helpful, and I was so lucky that Bruce helped me out the way he did, and continues to do.
A lot of players feel like they have to be performing at a certain level in their own career personally for them to feel like they deserve an opportunity or feel ready for a trial, if you know what I mean. In your circumstance, coming off a season in Tasmania, which was extremely unsuccessful from a team's perspective, and although you did play the majority of the games, you didn't really have an impact on the scoreboard or really assists. What made you think that you could possibly play professionally?
Do you know what, Dan? I got an assist in the very first game, I think, when I assisted Tiki.
Yeah,
And
you're right. Yep.
Yeah, so don't slag me off like that. But yeah, so I got one assist. I think I might have even got a goal. Bear, I don't know. To be fair, I'll be jamming his account as a goal. I think it bounced to the keeper like twice and went in somehow. But in that cup game, but yeah. But to be honest, one thing I'm missing out here about my time in Tasmania, which changed me a lot as well, was the opportunity it gave me in coaching as well. So when I was coaching the girls team, that's probably one of the best things that it opened up to me, because now like at the minute I'm stuck in England because of COVID and stuff like that. But obviously I'm nearly 28 now. I've not got a lot of I'm not probably going to be doing major bits anymore, but I'm definitely coaching is one thing I'm going to be taking forward. I would love to get coaching at a high level. I'd go to a different country tomorrow and start coaching if I had an opportunity to.
Do you think coaching changed your perspective on your own game?
You know, 100%, and I'd recommend anyone get into coaching if they want to play football. Because I would coach, especially my time coaching the Gold Coast, where I'm coaching 50 hours, not 50 hours, 30 hours a week, and then constantly thinking about football. And you know what? One thing, when you're explaining to children how to play football, it a lot of things click in my own mind. Like I play a lot of like five-a-side and stuff now, and I just realised some of these English lads I'm playing with, they can shoot, they can pass, and all that stuff, but they make silly decisions about even just where to stand or like basic stuff. Like I see stuff like a player will have the ball, and then his teammates like running at him for the ball. Obviously, there's times and places, there's times for that. But I was thinking, when I explain to kids, I say, what does if you've got the ball, what does the opposition do? They run at you, they try to take the ball off you. So if you're on the same team as someone, why would you run it on them? You create space, run away from them, take a player with you, and stuff like that. Coaching definitely changed my game a lot. Even just like, and another little thing, I used to play with my head down constantly, and then I'd wonder why I was under pressure every time I had the ball, and then eventually I just realised I lift my head up, and what I do as well is I'll put my hands out like that, because I'll be like trying to tell everyone else to calm down. But what I'm really doing is telling the opposition I'm really confident on the ball. Look at me, like I've got my head around. There's no point running towards me because by the time you're here, the ball's going to be gone. Whereas before, I might have my head down, be nervous, and that's just a sign for the opposition. Get on that lad now. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I can definitely see the passion for coaching and teaching is certainly there, Connor. Just from those demonstrations and explanations, the Pep Guardiola is oozing out of you.
Mate, I'm more of a Terry Venables, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, good. The psychological part of it is extremely important. Now, back onto towards that England, Tasmania, Thailand. For me, the big thing is, and we've mentioned this a lot of times in the past. You felt that you were at your best when you're in Thailand. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was probably in the best shape of my life there. I've been playing football like the last 3 years, day in, day out. I was definitely definitely the best shape of my life. But I made mistakes there, like people can learn from. As in, I was at this club for months and months. I said, "Am I going to get signed?" And all the messages were like, "Good, yeah, we're going to sign you. We're going to sign you." Weeks would go by, still not signed. But I was just naive, young. I was like, "Yeah, it's going well." I'm speaking to coach every day. I'm performing well in training. And then suddenly seven more international players show up, and then suddenly it's gone from okay, I'm in this team to now there's 7 international players here, and there's only 2 spaces left. So then the pressure's on then. And to be honest, I should have really when that came up, I should have left then. I spent 90% of my time there at Camping Pet, where really I should have done 2 weeks at this club. Do you want me? Do you not want me? Okay, because if you don't want me, I'm going now. And then I'm sure if I did that, I'm sure if I was at 5 or 6 clubs in Thailand, then I would have had a lot of a better season.
I tried to tell you, Connor.
I know, man. But
how about that? Talk to us about the time when you're talking about silly mistakes. You had a trial. Was it a T4 side or something like that in Bangkok?
In the stadium,
perform that was the best I've ever seen you perform. I've said this to Christy plenty of times, but yeah, talk to us about that. Talk to us about the first day, and then talk about where you screwed up the second day or third day.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. So the first day we're playing in a stadium in Bangkok. Obviously, it's like a 10,000 seat stadium. There's like a few hundred of us watching, so it's not like just like players went through their trials. And because this was a T4 side, and I'd spoken to the manager at Camping Pet again, told him I was going to come up. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to just enjoy myself here and just see what I can do. And he put me left back. I can't remember exactly what I did, but I was getting forward. I was doing the no look, like passing over the top and
Mate, you
stuff
were
like
skinning
that.
everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
What
And I
position were
nearly
you playing, Connor?
Left back.
left back, and I scored. And you know what? Every team, every player we watched, all the games had awful keepers. I had one good keeper because I scored this volley outside the box, and the keeper's tipped it over the bar, and I was like, that would have been it set then. And
Outrageous.
then yeah, and then but I remember as I was coming off, Bruce, you looked at me to give me a thumbs up like that, and I was like, yeah, even Bruce knows I smashed it. And then then the lads we were like, you were there as well. You hadn't even been on the pitch yet, I think. And then we got called out for the next one, and they called me back down there again. So I went down there, and I was like, I've just played. He's like, yeah, they want to see you play again. And I was like, fuck, man, I can't do it twice in a row. And then, but I think I played all right. I was just didn't do anything. I wasn't as good as the second time. But then, so I got invited back the next day for they just cut the numbers down, and you have like a smaller trial with the better players the next day. And I was given a time to be there, and then I just ordered a taxi and told them where I needed to be. And then I'm in this taxi for 10 minutes, and I'm thinking, where are we going? Then it's 20 minutes, then it's half an hour, and then I'm messaging Bruce like, mate, I don't know where this guy's taking me. And then I show up about an hour and a half late outside the wrong stadium, and I was like, this is, and then that was it then. And then so So I did get a message of them a few months later. This is the sort of stuff you get in football. So I went back to Camping Pet anyway. I would have loved to play there. And then 2 weeks later, I got a message from them saying, "Hey, can you come play in this game on Saturday?" And I was like, I can't play this game on Saturday. I'm playing for Camping Pet, but if that don't go well, I can be there next week. And they said, "No, we've got 4 of the centre backs we're looking at." And I thought, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go to this new club, and there's 4 centre backs. There's one position. You know what I mean? I'm gonna need the game of my life to impress in that one game like that, to take out these other 4 lads. So it's stuff like that. The competition, like I said earlier, I think most decent English footballers, man, you can probably go over to Thailand, these like T2, T3, and probably not look out of place with the Thai lads. But that's not good enough. You need to be better than the international players. These are players that have also travelled to the other side of the world to play. So these ain't slouches. You know what I mean? You only meet a Tom Ang of them sort of players every now and then. A lot of the players are they'll be good footballers, and they'll be like if they've made a commitment to go to the other side of the world, man, then they're eating while they're training hard. You know what I mean? These guys don't mess about.
So you're saying you've rocked up to the wrong stadium an hour and a half late for one of the most important, basically, trial games of your career. What on earth would have you done differently then? What went wrong? Was it you
honestly,
how old were you? 25, 26 at the time? You're a grown adult.
Nah, man, I was 20, 23. No, it was in the year I was in Tasmania, so I've been 23.
That's right.
Maybe nearly.
No, you were 23. I was 22.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That is still quite young. In a completely.
But honestly, that was completely the taxi driver's fault. Completely, that taxi driver cost me a whole professional contract. If I'm honest with you,
Lost in translation.
But literally, that is the problem as well. Like the language barrier thing, like that was what has caused that. He must have just heard me saying stadium or something. If I'll take him to a stadium, I guess. And then, but yeah, non-Thubbery, man, that would have been good playing there because they had a great stadium. That would have been good.
Unbelievable.
So Connor, for a lot of younger players who have never been on trial before with a professional club, without going into too much detail, how does a professional trial work? Do you jump in the Uber, you rock outside the stadium? What on earth do you do then from there? How does it work?
This trial was literally you just rock up to the stadium and you sign yourself in, and I think there was literally 500 people there, and then they'll just do games and put you into a team, and that was the trial. I'm not sure you at the one the next day, Bruce. Was that much different or the same?
No, the next day was so the first day is when everyone turned up. You got the 500, and that's the second day is when they trimmed it down. That's when you did turn up. But yeah, the second it was just games again, but it was just about I think like 50 players or something. They trimmed it down to 50. Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair way to judge a player, or is there's not much they can do? You feel?
I think that's the best. You want if you're looking to sign a player, you want to see him in a game. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to see him like, how many kick-ups can he do? You want to see how's he perform, and you want to throw players in the deep end. You want to see how's this guy performing under pressure. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what football is. I'll tell anyone if you watch any of the Euro games, 90% of it is 5-yard passes, 10-yard passes, and passing and moving. Anyone can do that. Any half, but can you do it under pressure? Can you do it? Can you make the right pass at the right time? Stuff like that. That's one thing that I learned massively.
That's great. That's crazy. The headline for this podcast is going to be "A taxi driver ruined my football career."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll find him. We'll find him one day.
So Thailand comes to a conclusion. How long did you spend in there in total?
Maybe 4 months, and that was another mistake I made. Like I made a snap decision to leave. I left I knew it. I probably could have stayed out there for a few weeks trying to find new more teams, but I just I remember I didn't get picked up by a team. A few of the lads that I knew had all been picked up, and we just had a few beers down in Bangkok. And I remember the next morning I just thought I'm going home, and then I got to the airport. I hadn't even booked a flight yet, and then and then it was about 12 hours later. I was in my shower at home, like what have I done? That's so stupid. Why am I back here? But yeah, so that's one thing. Don't let your emotions get the better of you if you do something like that. You need to just stick it out. To be honest, I'm 28 now. So I probably if I went up to Australia, Thailand now, I'm almost certain I could probably get myself a contract somewhere. Maybe not. Obviously not. Maybe not T1 or T2. But I would just know what to do. I'd be at a different team every week. I'd be putting the pressure on the manager. I say, mate, I'm here today. or I'm going. You know what I mean? I'd flip it on them. Whereas before, I was like, "Oh, you're going to sign me? Will you sign me? How's it looking? What do you think?" And all that. And then when you're like that, you give them all the power. When really, this manager was taking the piss out of me for months, and I didn't even know. Like, I'm sure he rated me a little bit. Thought, you know what? But he was thinking in his head, yeah, I'll string along. But if anything else comes along better, he's gone. So if you find yourself in a situation like that, you need to get out of it and put them, flip on them and say, you've got 3 days to sign me or I'm going. And I think, mate, if I did that with a few teams, it would have been a game changer.
Do you think that's why the importance of professional athletes having agents is so crucial and so important?
Yeah, because like you're casual football fan, and there are a lot of greedy agents, things like that. But look at these agents; they don't do anything. But these agents can a good agent can make or break you. Do you know what I mean? So 100%, like definitely.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that, Connor, on a little bit about your career, and we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. And welcome to part 3. This is the Coastal Football Agency Pros Around the World Euro 2020 podcast. Here today and joined with our guest live from the UK in Coventry, Connor Doherty. Connor, we were just talking a little bit about your career and really interested in getting insight on some of those key pivotal moments that you endured as a footballer. What I want to work on now is basically talk to us about your fitness and how you became better through programs.
Well, when I got to Australia, I remember, and to be honest, looking back on the sessions we were doing with the Dane Hudson, they were nothing spectacular, really, especially once I knew more about coaching. But I remember when I first got to Australia, I was like, oh, I've never really had proper football training before. Unless you're playing in an academy in England, your training is like, I don't know, you get to train, just like bang the ball at golf half an hour, then you might do a few like passing drills in the game at the end or something like that. But then suddenly I'm in Australia and it's like I'm I don't know exactly, but doing a lot more technical skills and a lot more technical drills than I was used to. And also the game in Australia as well is that everyone in Australia they're all athletes. You know what I mean? So I realised pretty quickly that I needed to improve my shape anyway. And that's one thing Bruce massively helped with me. Bruce got me in a program, honestly. And one thing people don't realise as well is that I was never like excessive drunk or anything like that, but I would enjoy a beer and I'd enjoy my McDonald's and stuff like that. And I remember when I decided to sort my body out, basically, I stopped drinking, I started eating healthy and I started going to the gym at the same time. I swear, within 2 or 3 weeks, I was a different guy already. The weight just fell off me, and then that was just maintain that. Then to get the gym 3. To be honest, I probably overdid the gym that year a little bit. To be honest, because I would go to gym maybe 5 times a week, and I'd still have football training. Like me and Bruce would have a game on a Saturday, and then go to the gym after. And I think now that's so stupid. Like, what you're recovering stuff like that. But me and Bruce, like, oh, we're fucking hard as anything. We're going to the gym after a game. But now I look back, like maybe that wasn't the cleverest idea. But
yeah, you're willing to admit though that Bruce's influence and the kind of personal training guidance that he had certainly got you to the best shape you were when you went over for that trial in Thailand.
Yeah, for sure. Like massively, like I don't know. But before a few years ago, the thought of having a six pack or something like that wouldn't even occur to me. I wouldn't even thought. And then, but once you get the program, or you get the bug, then and then suddenly it's like now I love going to the gym. It used to be like for a while it's a chore, but
I want to understand. Bruce is your friend. He's not your personal trainer. You didn't pay him. But what he's obviously told you has got you into a condition which was, just average for a footballer playing in for an amateur level, for you to actually be in condition to be a serious contender in a Thailand professional league. Like that's quite a bit of a jump.
Well, to be honest, like I was a lot of lads in Australia, I would have been in better shape than them as well. Even like I think I was in the best shape of my life there for sure. Bruce made the gym interesting and just like if you got a program, sometimes I'm back at the gym in a minute and I'm not really following the program, and I just find myself, what do I fancy doing, stuff like that. But when you've got someone training you, that trying to get the best out of you, so mate, you need to do chest and this day, you need to that day, you don't miss out on the legs. Make sure this how you get this how you get the because if you're going to spend an hour at the gym, you may as well, and if your goal is to get in shape, like you may as well be doing it right. There's no point. You need to know. Like years ago, I might have done stuff like been on the machines, stuff like that. But now I realised like I would never even look at machines. That's all free weights, stuff like that. It's so much better for you. Like I go to the gym a lot now, and I see people on like ab machines and stuff like that. And I just want to say to them, like, never waste your time on that ab machine. Just do some leg raises and stuff like that. Or if you've got a bit of a belly on you, don't even bother. Just lose some weight first. If you know what I mean, like you're not your abs. If you can have a six pack underneath like 3 kg of fat, and no one's gonna see them. But also at the same time, I remember I was so obsessed about my abs. Like, I need to get in shape, and then you get a six pack, and it's like, you know what? It doesn't really. No one's really impressed. No one really cares. If I get my abs out, I look like a plonker. Do you know what I mean? I've done that a few times, and
where does that obsession for the six pack come from? You think that's a pressure inbuilt in society?
Just superficial like Instagram. Who's like, you know what I mean? I think people get it bred into us. Our six pack. That's like the height of fitness almost. But I remember
curiosity as well. No, if you've never had one before, if you've never had it before, the curiosity to obviously go and get a six pack is something you obviously want to do.
But also, if you see someone with a six pack, you know they work. You know they train hard. You can't be a slouch and have a six pack and be walking like And people like to say, "Hey, oh, you're skinny, you get a six pack." I remember in Tasmania, I'd get that a lot. Oh, you only got six pack because you're skinny. I was like, well, we've got about 6 skinny lads on the team, and I don't see any of their abs. Do you know what I mean? So what are you talking about? But yeah, I think it's just I think if you got a six pack, I don't know, you're not a slouch anyway. I don't know. That's a good way to put it.
No, that's excellent. That's excellent, Connor. What we're going to move on to now into the last segment of the podcast, we're going to move into some rapid fire questions. These are just a list of, I think we got about 9 questions here. All quick, short answers, but they could have some nice little stories to them. So a fantastic way to finish. Starting off with the first question, the best stadium or pitch that you've ever played on?
You know what? I was on about the stadium, like a non-February stadium that's rolling. That's incredible. It's like playing in a proper stadium. But you know what? Northern Rangers, they didn't have much of a stadium, but their surf was probably the best in the whole league. To be honest, they got a great pitch there, and that's one thing that they need to learn as well. I remember playing in Australia on these carpets, basically really good the pitches, and then I'd go play Sunday league when I come home, and the ball's just bouncing off me. The ball's like because. It's unless you're playing at a high level in England, you're going to play at a park somewhere or something, and the pitches are going to be awful. And then it literally changes the game because if I'm playing on a good pitch, the ball's coming towards me. I can glance around a bit more and look at the teams. I know where the ball's coming. But if I'm playing in a park and then the ball's bobbing around, I can't take my eye off that ball for a second. And I remember it so clearly. There was one of my first games back from Australia. That was the case, playing in the park. And if you watched me play the game, you'd think I was the worst player on the pitch, honestly. Because everything was just bouncing off me. It's a complete. Football's a different sport when you're playing the bad pitch, and
I think that's what people take for granted as well. Watching football on TV just from the armchair, the quality of the pitches and what they can do, and what some amateur bowlers are doing on some terrible pitches in South America in altitude up to 2,000 meters. And then if you put them on a beautiful pitch in Wembley, what they can produce.
Yeah, exactly.
Great answer. Best goal ever scored, Connor?
Like by myself or just in general? I've not scored many goals. The best goal. Do you know Ronaldo's free kick against Portsmouth, the famous free kick?
Yeah.
I was at that game and I got to the game late. I got to the game at half time. I missed that free kick.
I had someone else the other day tell me they were at that game as well. I think it was Mason Mount.
Yeah, it was Mason Mount. Yeah.
I think I saw that on YouTube. Yeah.
Did he tell you? Did he?
Yeah. I was sitting next to him. Yeah, so that would have been the best goal, but
best goal you ever scored. That was really
best goal. Yeah.
You want to know the
You've
best goal
scored
I
some
ever scored?
crackers.
In training, do you know what I mean? But anyone score a banger in training, in games, I can't. Remember that game, Bruce, against Olympia when I tried to chip the keeper from the halfway line,
About
and it
40 yards.
skimmed the top bar, and I was like, that could have been, that would have been my profile picture on Facebook for the next 10 years. That would have been that. And you know what? I remember after the game, I went to the guy who does the highlight tapes. I said, make sure you put my strip in there. And I guarantee he took it out of spite maybe or something. I was like, he wasn't in the video. I was so devo. And then even when at the end of the season, Tiki got all the games on tape, and one of the games was missing. It was the Olympia game, and I was like, yeah.
You've mentioned this before. Biggest injury / setback.
Biggest injury, honestly, when like I said, I sprained my ankle. And everyone talks about sprained ankles. Like, when you think of sprained ankle, you don't think of much. But I did so much damage to my ankle with that sprain. Like my foot was black. My foot was out here. I could barely walk in it for months and months. And then, but me being in India, I probably extended that injury a little bit. But by I remember going to Power League when I had my sprained ankle and I was hobbling about. And eventually, I remember when I got to uni, I was like, I just need to stop playing completely. And the best, even though I missed crucial years in my career, if I was to call it that, I would taking the time off. Just like now, I'm not even sure exactly which ankle it is. I'm completely healed now. But yeah, that was I suppose that probably changed my career a little bit because if I didn't have that injury, I would have went to uni and just started playing football straight away. I'm sure. Like in my last year, I got into the teams. I'm sure I could have been in them uni teams the whole 4 years, and then I would have had 4 years of playing uni football at a decent, probably at a half decent level, and then I would have went to Tasmania with a lot more experience in my bag. When really, remember when I played in when I played in Tasmania, I probably had about six Sunday league games before that in 4 years. And then I went straight to Tasmania. So I was under the pressure a little bit there.
Excellent. Laziest trainer that you've ever come across?
Lazy trainer. Do you know what? Some of the teams I've played at, all the trainers they're all lazy bastards. You know what I mean? But not so much the pressure in Thailand and Tasmania. But laziest trainer. I don't know. I could say I could pick out a random name here, and no one would know him, so it wouldn't be that interesting to me.
Someone we know then is laziest trainer at Northern Rangers, so we can all relate. Yeah, that was my guess.
Laziest trainer, man. I wouldn't even. What? Who's yours?
Laziest trainer. John Wani actually was pretty lazy.
Yeah, John Wani really lazy.
I was going to say John Wani. I don't remember John Wani being. When I think of John Wani, I don't think lazy. Lazy trainer. Really.
I don't think energetic.
Definitely not energetic, right? Massive.
Luigi was a bit of a lazy goalkeeper, wasn't he?
He's a goalkeeper, bro.
Lazy goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question. Best nights out / best cities ever travelled to?
Do you know what? I'd love to go back to Bangkok and actually enjoy it because last time I was there, I was stressed about football. I didn't really want to. The only night I tried to enjoy, I went home the next morning. And but no, actually, what I'm talking about, the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is beautiful. I recommend anyone to go to the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is the best city in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Regardless of football or not, I want to live on the Gold Coast and just forever now, just from being there.
Why?
So just Google Surfers Paradise, Google like Broadbeach and all these places, man. Like you just live there, I don't like you know. It's a beautiful place, and you do anything you want. And it just seems I don't know. It's just I think it's the place to be. That's the perfect lifestyle. If I wanted to raise kids, it'd be on the Gold Coast.
Excellent. Least favorite manager / coach to work under?
I've got probably more least favorite coaches than favorite coaches. And pick any of them coaches in Northern Rangers, honestly. Yeah, there was some
great pitch shit coaches.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to push you for an answer, Connor.
Mate, Des was terrible, wasn't he? But I don't even blame Des. I blame the people who had the power. After 2 games, really. After the first game, Bruce, I knew he wasn't the man for the job. This guy's a clown. And but everyone knew, the whole club knew, and no one did anything about it. But that team Northern Rangers didn't do well because football, you got to be ruthless in football. I would have had Des out of that at half time. Like Des, man, I've just watched his first half. It ain't good enough, mate. You're sacked. But I'm joking a little bit there, but there should have been a lot better decisions made that year. No way.
Spot on. That's so interesting. How the funny thing is, it's the exact same at Manchester United as it is at Northern Rangers. If it's dodgy at the top, it's going to seep down all the way through the club, and that's something.
I don't know about it being dodgy.
It was it wasn't stable. It wasn't dodgy. I just don't think it was stable.
Yeah.
Dodgy was the wrong term. Sorry. Apologies, Marshall Pooley.
I think in football you can't be afraid to, especially this was the NPL. It's not like we were a little Sunday league team. You know what I mean? It's like you can't be afraid to hurt someone's feelings. Like Des, this is an NPL team. We want to see some progression. We want to see the team getting better, and that just wasn't happening. And everyone keeps their mouth shut, don't say anything. But I would happily say something.
Again, for our viewers who are unaware who Des may be, Desmond Baker is a quite a notorious coach based in Launceston, Tasmania. I think he would be in about his mid-60s now, early 70s. He's definitely been on the coaching
scene. He's in his mid-60s then. He's in his 70s now, bro.
Yeah. He's knocking on at least 73, 74, but he's basically been a coach in Launceston for probably about 40, 45, 50 years.
Is he still coaching?
It shows as well.
Yeah. You still have the brown leather balls out.
Kind of last question on the rapid fire. Your longest away trip that you've had to make to play football?
Longest away trip? It probably just has to be, if you want to play in Tasmania, there's two real cities, Launceston and Hobart, and all the teams are really, or five of them at least, are in Hobart. So that's one thing that the northern teams, they've got a bit of a disadvantage there. Like every time, over half of our games were in Hobart, and that's a 3.5 hour journey there. A 3.5, is that what it was? It was something like that, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Did you ever play in Bangkok, Connor, when playing for Camping Pet? Because they were about 5.5 hours in the bus, if you can remember.
We did when we got the bus down there once, and then you decided that you didn't want to play from mid bus journey. You just got out. So, mate, can I get out here? He's like, yeah, I guess so.
No, I just stayed on and went straight to Bangkok.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But maybe that was the case then. Yeah. But yeah, fucking that was funny. But that was one off, and I don't think I played. That was another one of them bullshit trial games where they put like 3 different fucking sets of people on. It's like, okay. I don't want to. Obviously, you need to be the best. You need to be good. But when you know there's 2 spaces and there's 7 lads out there playing, it's really demoralising, to be honest. Like, this is a waste of time. Yeah.
And that's the end of our rapid fire section. Thank you very much, Connor, for those answers. We will be back for the last part of the show. Thank you very much. And we're back for our last conclusion to the podcast, or the conclusion to the podcast, sorry, for today. Our first ever podcast on the Coastal Football Agency Pros Around the World Euro 2020 edition. If you want to find out any more information about Coastal Football Agency, please visit our website on www.coastalfootballagency.com.au. And for our final question on the podcast, do you think you were good enough to play professional football?
That's a tricky one. I think if I was in a better place, if I could I could realise now football is one of them quotes you see. Paolo said, football's a game you play with your brain, the feet are the tools. And when I was a bit more of a casual football fan, I thought that's just some pretentious thing, but that's a fact. That's a fact. Football, the whole game. If you can make a 10-yard pass and you've got fitness in your run, if you can make really good decisions really quickly, and then the sky's the limit really. Because when I was coaching, especially, I'll tell especially if you're watching like an A-League game or something, I would say to the kids, like, make a note of when these players are doing something that you can't do. And you'll be watching the whole game, and maybe there might only be 2 or 3 special moments in the game where someone does something incredible or a screamer. The whole game is passing and moving. So if you can, so if you can do that and compose yourself, then the sky's the limit, really. But for example, I remember like in training, I would feel like I was one of the best trainers there, or every time. I didn't think like especially the Thai lads. I didn't think really. Maybe there were one or two players that might have been better than me, but the rest of them, I thought these aren't really special footballers, to be honest. But it's just I just remember being so nervous before games, thinking, okay, I need to perform in this game. If I don't perform, like you can play well in training all week, but the manager cares about how you're playing in the game. Like the lad that got signed over me, this big 6'7" Japanese lad. In my head, I knew I was better footballer than him. I knew I was, and I still am probably. But in the games, and he do badly in training. I remember the manager testing this guy's he just throwing the ball and he just pat it back into his hands. And the lad could barely even do that. And I was thinking, I'm so much better than this guy. But in the games, he turned up and I didn't. Do you know what I mean? So he got signed and I didn't. But if I could just pull it together a little bit more, I probably, or if I just played it properly and I didn't, and I went to different teams and started putting the pressure on my managers like I said I would, I probably would have done better. But I've been there for months and months, and these games I would crumble under pressure at times, and that's something that like I would love to go back to Australia now, or play football now in Thailand, because I think I could control my nerves and stuff like that so much better now. And when you really think about what you're doing.
Excellent. Well, Connor, thank you very much for joining us.
What's your final message to the guys that want to play pro around the world?
My final message is it's a lot more achievable than you think it is. Literally, get on a plane somewhere, find out what the teams are. If you're a decent baller and you show up at someone's football training, well, obviously not the top professional like Man United or anything like that. But if you want to play NPL, you can just show up at an NPL training. It's not really that hard to find out where it is. They'll probably, if you look the part, you're in shape. They might give you, they'll have you run around the resis, and then there'll be opportunities there. You just need to get yourself there, and take advantage of any little opportunity you get. If someone says, "Hey, I might be able to get you an opportunity here," but yeah, please take it. Like I said earlier, if someone called me today and said, "Do you want to go? I've got a coaching gig for you in Sweden or something like that. You need to be there in next week." I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it. I'll do that." And that's what you need to succeed in really anything, really.
That's it. Fantastic insight, Connor. Christy?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, Connor, for joining us today on our first episode of the Coastal Football Agency podcast. A really good way for us to be able to not only touch base and reconnect, but reminisce a little bit as well on some of the fantastic memories that we have in the past. So thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. And on behalf of everyone else and our listeners today, from myself and Bruce Beyond here at Coastal Football Agency /Fit, good night.